Imagine this. You're walking down the hallway at night just trying to get a glass of water. Suddenly your legs buckle beneath you. You crash to the floor. The fear in that moment, the thought that you might not be able to stand again, sends a shiver down your spine. For many seniors, this terrifying scenario is all too real. Falls are often blamed on just getting older. But what if I told you that a common everyday culprit is silently eroding your muscle strength day after day without you even noticing? As a neurologist who has spent decades studying how aging affects the body, I've seen the devastation sugar can bring not just to blood vessels or the brain, but directly to your muscles. Most people think of sugar as a threat only when it comes to diabetes or obesity. But sugar's reach is much wider and more insidious. Excess sugar damages muscle fibers, slows their repair, and weakens the very foundation of your physical independence. It doesn't announce itself with pain at first. It doesn't leave obvious scars. Instead, it silently chips away at the strength you rely on to walk, to climb stairs, to carry groceries, or even just to rise from a chair. Think about how much you value being able to move freely, walking in the park, kneeling down to hug your grandchildren, carrying your shopping bag without asking for help. Sugar in excess threatens all of this. It starves your muscles of their vitality while quietly setting you up for a future where every movement feels heavier, harder, and more exhausting. And here's the shocking truth. It's not just about the spoonfuls of sugar you add to your tea or coffee. The real danger hides in everyday foods, snacks, breads, healthy cereals, even sauces that overload your system. You may think you're eating normally, but your muscles are paying the price in silence. Before we dive deeper, let me pause and make a quick request. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. And if you're with me so far, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can improve these videos for you. Your feedback means a lot. Now here's where we begin. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 9 hidden ways sugar is destroying your muscle health after 60. Each one will reveal something unexpected, sometimes even shocking, about how your body responds to sugar as it ages. I'll also share real patient stories, men and women just like you, who discovered too late how much damage sugar was doing. So let's start with the first truth. Sugar and aging muscles are a far more dangerous combination than most seniors realize. When you hear the word sarcopenia, you may think it's just another complicated medical term that belongs in textbooks. But in reality, sarcopenia simply means age-related muscle loss. It starts quietly in your 40s and 50s, and by the time you reach your 60s, it can accelerate rapidly. Studies show that seniors can lose up to 1% of their muscle mass every year after 60. That may sound small, but over time it means weaker legs, slower movement, and a greater risk of falls. For many older adults, sarcopenia is the hidden thief that steals independence. Now here's where sugar comes in. Excess sugar interferes with your body's ability to build and maintain muscle. Normally, when you eat protein, your muscles use amino acids to repair and grow. But sugar disrupts this process by creating an environment that favors fat storage over muscle building. It raises insulin levels, and instead of sending fuel to your muscles, insulin ends up storing more of it as fat. Over time, this imbalance means your muscles receive less of the energy they need to stay strong. Let me share a story that stays with me to this day. Mrs. Ellis, a 72-year-old retired teacher, came to see me complaining of constant fatigue. She had trouble standing up from her sofa and often felt shaky while walking to her mailbox. She told me proudly that she never ate desserts, no cakes, no candy, no ice cream. But when I asked her to describe her daily meals, the truth emerged. Breakfast was a bowl of heart-healthy cereal with a glass of orange juice. Lunch was often a sandwich with packaged bread. Dinner included pasta with sauce from a jar. On paper, it looked fine, but in reality, these meals were loaded with hidden sugars. Her muscles were starving while her blood was flooded with glucose. Over time, this imbalance had drained her strength. She hadn't fallen yet, but she was teetering on the edge of losing her independence. When we adjusted her diet, swapping the cereal for eggs, the juice for water with lemon, and the pasta for vegetables with lean protein, her improvement was striking. Within 3 months, she walked with confidence again and felt more energy than she had in years. The mainstream fact here is undeniable. As you age, your muscles naturally shrink and lose power, and sugar speeds up that process. The lesser-known fact is how sugar tricks your body into shutting down protein synthesis, the very process that should be protecting your muscles. Think about it, every spoonful of hidden sugar is like turning off the repair crew that keeps your body strong. So let me ask you this, if a thief came into your home every night and stole just a small piece of your strength, would you ignore it? Of course not. Yet this is exactly what sugar does. It quietly robs you one bite at a time. And if you think this is the worst part, you'll want to hold on. Because the real danger isn't just the sugar itself, it's the way it traps your body in a dangerous cycle with insulin. That's where we're headed next. If there's one hormone that controls the fate of your muscles, it's insulin. Many seniors think of insulin only in connection with diabetes, but its role is much broader. Insulin is the gatekeeper, the signal that tells your muscles, here's the fuel you need to grow and repair. But when sugar floods your system too often, that signal grows weaker. This is what doctors call insulin resistance, and it's one of the silent forces behind muscle decline after 60. Normally, when you eat a balanced meal, your blood sugar rises slightly. Insulin responds and your muscles eagerly soak up glucose to use as energy. But imagine pouring bucket after bucket of sugar into that system. Over time, your muscles stop listening. The locks on the doors grow rusty. Even though insulin is knocking, your muscles don't open up to receive the fuel. Instead, that fuel gets stored as fat. Your muscles grow weaker while your waistline expands. I recall a patient named George, a 68-year-old retired mechanic. George loved his sweet tea, drinking several glasses a day. He thought it gave him energy to keep working in his garage. But what he didn't realize was that his constant sugar intake was trapping his muscles in this insulin-resistant cycle. When he came to see me, he was frustrated. His arms felt weak and he struggled to lift the very tools he had once used daily. His fasting blood sugar was borderline high and his muscle mass had dropped significantly in just 2 years. I explained to George that his sweet tea habit wasn't just threatening diabetes, it was robbing his muscles of energy. His muscles had essentially stopped responding to insulin, leaving them starved despite plenty of sugar in his blood. It's like having a refrigerator full of food, but the door won't open. The result: fatigue, weakness, and accelerated muscle loss. The mainstream fact is this insulin resistance becomes more common as we age. Even seniors without diabetes experience some degree of it, and it contributes to slower recovery, lower strength, and higher fall risk. The lesser-known fact is how sugar directly accelerates this trap, making your muscles deaf to the very signal that should be feeding them. George eventually replaced his sweet tea with water flavored by lemon and mint. He also began adding more protein and vegetables to his meals. Within 6 months, his strength improved noticeably. He could lift his tools again and felt more in control of his body. His story is a reminder. Insulin resistance is not a distant threat. It's a daily reality for many seniors who lean too heavily on sugar. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. How many times a day are you unknowingly pushing your muscles deeper into the insulin trap? Every cookie, every soda, every hidden sugar in bread or sauce adds up. And if insulin resistance weakens your muscles this much, what happens when sugar stirs up inflammation at the same time? That's the next hidden danger. One of the most underestimated enemies of aging muscles is not just sugar itself, but the inflammation it fuels. You may already know the discomfort of arthritis or sore joints that's inflammation at work. But what most people don't realize is that sugar triggers a constant low-grade inflammation inside your body that eats away at muscle fibers silently day after day. It doesn't announce itself with swelling or redness like an injury would. Instead, it lingers beneath the surface, slowly eroding your strength. When you consume excess sugar, your body reacts by releasing molecules called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These harmful compounds stiffen tissues, inflame blood vessels, and damage the very proteins that keep your muscles supple and strong. Over time, this process breaks down muscle fibers before they have a chance to repair. Instead of rebuilding, your body is caught in a vicious cycle of damage and weakened recovery. I'll never forget the story of Margaret, a 70-year-old grandmother who came to me complaining that even after resting, her legs felt heavy and sore. She assumed it was just old age slowing her down. But when I reviewed her diet, the truth was eye-opening. Margaret had a habit of eating light snacks throughout the day, granola bars, flavored yogurts, and what she thought was a harmless glass of sweetened iced tea. None of these looked like indulgent desserts, but they delivered a steady stream of sugar into her system. The result: her body was trapped in a state of constant low-grade inflammation. Her muscles couldn't recover properly after daily activity, so even small tasks like climbing stairs left her drained. Once we reduced her sugar intake and introduced anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, fish, and berries, the change was dramatic. Within 2 months, her muscle soreness eased and she reported feeling lighter on her feet. The mainstream fact is this inflammation naturally increases as we age, making recovery slower and strength harder to maintain. But the lesser-known fact is that sugar acts like gasoline on that fire. It doesn't just contribute to pain, it accelerates muscle breakdown by fueling this hidden inflammatory cycle. Now ask yourself, how many times have you brushed off fatigue or soreness as just getting older? What if instead it was sugar quietly inflaming your muscles from within? It's a chilling thought, isn't it? And if sugar-driven inflammation worries you, brace yourself. Because sugar doesn't stop at breaking down fibers, it also blocks the very nutrients your muscles need to rebuild. That's the next hidden danger you must hear about. Your muscles are like a construction site. Every day tiny tears appear as you move, bend, or lift. Normally your body sends in amino acids, the building blocks of protein, to repair and strengthen those fibers. But here's the catch: when sugar floods your system, that construction crew gets blocked at the gate. The building materials pile up, but they never reach the site. The result: weaker muscles that can't recover or grow. Sugar interferes with protein metabolism in two powerful ways. First, it raises insulin to such high levels that amino acids struggle to enter muscle cells efficiently. Second, it promotes fat storage over muscle repair, meaning the nutrients you eat don't get used where they're needed most. It's a hidden sabotage that leaves seniors wondering why they're eating protein but still losing strength. I remember Mr. Collins, a 74-year-old retired postal worker who came to me deeply frustrated. He had followed advice to increase his protein. He ate chicken, eggs, and beans faithfully. But despite his efforts, his arms and legs grew thinner and he felt weaker each month. When I examined his diet, the problem became clear. He washed down his protein meals with sweetened drinks, often adding a dessert afterward. The sugar was overpowering his protein intake, blocking his muscles from absorbing the very nutrients meant to protect them. Once we shifted his habits, pairing his protein with water or unsweetened tea, and cutting out dessert after dinner, his body finally responded. Within 4 months, he regained visible muscle in his arms and noticed greater stability while walking. His story is a clear reminder: protein alone is not enough if sugar is standing in the way. The mainstream fact here is simple: older adults need more protein than younger people to preserve muscle. Experts recommend at least 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. The lesser-known fact is this sugar can cancel out those efforts by blocking protein from doing its job. So let me ask you, how many seniors are sitting at the dinner table proudly eating their chicken or fish, only to undo it all with a sweet drink or dessert right after? This hidden trap leaves them thinking age is the enemy, when in reality, sugar is stealing their progress. And if blocking protein isn't bad enough, sugar plays another trick. It hides in foods you'd never expect, foods you may think are good for you. That's where we're heading next. By now you may be thinking, I don't even eat candy or cake, so I must be safe. But this is exactly where sugar hides in plain sight. It disguises itself in foods marketed as healthy and sneaks into your daily meals without you realizing it. Seniors who avoid obvious desserts may still be consuming large amounts of sugar every single day. Let's look at a few examples. A single serving of fruit-flavored yogurt can contain as much sugar as a can of soda. Breakfast cereals, even those labeled whole grain or heart healthy, often pack 10 to 15 grams of sugar per bowl. Fruit juices, which many seniors drink believing they're choosing something natural, can spike blood sugar faster than eating candy. Even pasta sauces, salad dressings, and packaged breads are notorious for hiding added sugars that quietly chip away at your health. I recall working with Mrs. Lawson, a 69-year-old widow who prided herself on eating clean. She didn't bake cookies or buy ice cream, and she always stayed away from soda. Yet she came to me complaining that her legs felt weaker and she struggled to rise from her garden bench after working outside. When we examined her meals, the truth was sobering. Her healthy breakfast was flavored yogurt with a glass of orange juice. Lunch often included whole grain bread with store-bought turkey slices. Dinner was a bowl of pasta with jarred marinara. To her, this was a balanced day. But in reality, she was consuming nearly 70 grams of hidden sugar, almost 3 times the recommended daily amount for seniors. Her muscles were paying the price. The constant sugar spikes drained her energy, blocked protein absorption, and triggered inflammation, leaving her weaker with each passing month. When we replaced the flavored yogurt with plain Greek yogurt and fresh berries, swapped juice for water with lemon, and replaced pasta with roasted vegetables, her transformation was remarkable. Within weeks, she reported steadier legs, fewer dizzy spells, and renewed confidence in her independence. The mainstream fact is this: packaged foods, even those labeled as healthy, are often loaded with sugar. The lesser-known fact is how dangerous these hidden sugars are for seniors. They don't just add calories, they accelerate muscle loss and drain vitality. So the next time you stroll through the grocery store, ask yourself how many healthy items in your cart are secretly working against you. It's not always the obvious sweets, it's the everyday staples that seniors trust most. And if hidden sugars shock you, brace yourself for the next truth. Sugar doesn't just weaken muscles from within, it also sabotages circulation, starving your muscles of oxygen and nutrients they desperately need. That's where we'll go next. Strong muscles aren't just built from protein, they also depend on blood flow. Every fiber in your body relies on oxygen and nutrients delivered through your circulation. But sugar is a silent saboteur of this system. Over time, excess sugar damages the lining of your blood vessels, making them stiff and narrow. Imagine trying to water your garden with a hose that's cracked and clogged. The flow weakens and the plants wither. That's exactly what happens to your muscles when circulation falters. The process begins when sugar binds to proteins in your blood, creating those harmful advanced glycation end products, or AGs, that we discussed earlier. These AGs make your arteries less flexible, raise blood pressure, and limit nutrient delivery. Without steady circulation, your muscles can't get the oxygen they need. The result is faster fatigue, slower recovery, and a creeping weakness that many seniors mistake for normal aging. Let me share the story of Daniel, a 71-year-old former bus driver. Daniel came to me complaining of leg cramps whenever he walked more than a block. At first, he assumed it was arthritis or simply being out of shape. But when I looked at his blood work and lifestyle, another story unfolded. Daniel had a long-standing habit of drinking fruit juice multiple times a day, believing it was a healthy alternative to soda. The constant sugar exposure had stiffened his blood vessels, reducing circulation to his leg muscles. What he was experiencing was not arthritis, it was poor blood flow. Once Daniel cut back on juice, added more water, and incorporated circulation-friendly foods like leafy greens, nuts, and omega-3 rich fish, his walking improved dramatically. Within 3 months, he could stroll through his neighborhood park without pain or cramping. He was amazed at how quickly his energy returned once his circulation improved. The mainstream fact is simple: circulation naturally declines with age, which is why seniors often feel colder, weaker, or more tired. The lesser-known fact is how sugar speeds up this decline, strangling your muscles from the inside out. So here's the question you must face if circulation is already slowing down with age. Why would you feed it sugar that makes the problem worse? Every glass of sweetened juice or slice of packaged cake is not just a treat. It's a slow tightening of the hose that keeps your muscles alive. And if sugar's assault on circulation wasn't frightening enough, the next danger digs even deeper. Sugar damages not just the vessels feeding your muscles, but also the nerves commanding them. That's the hidden breakdown we'll uncover next. Muscles don't work in isolation. They depend on a precise line of communication with your nervous system. Every movement you make, whether it's standing up from a chair, gripping a doorknob, or walking across the room, starts as an electrical signal from your brain delivered through nerves to your muscles. But sugar disrupts this connection. Over time, excess sugar damages nerve endings, creating a breakdown in the communication system that keeps your body moving smoothly. This damage often begins with what's known as peripheral neuropathy, a condition many seniors associate only with diabetes. But the truth is, even without full-blown diabetes, years of high sugar intake can injure nerves in your legs and feet. The protective coating around nerves, called the myelin sheath, begins to wear down, slowing or even blocking signals. The result: muscles don't receive the clear instructions they need. You may notice tingling, numbness, or weakness, but often the first sign is stumbling or losing balance. I think back to Mrs. Rivera, a 67-year-old retired nurse who came to me deeply worried. She had noticed her grip weakening and sometimes felt as though her feet were asleep when she walked. She hadn't been diagnosed with diabetes, but her diet told the real story. She enjoyed pastries with her morning coffee and often reached for sweetened crackers as snacks. Her blood sugar levels were just high enough over the years to quietly damage her nerves. By the time she came to me, her muscles were struggling to respond because the signals from her brain were misfiring. The mainstream fact is this nerve conduction naturally slows with age, which explains why reaction times aren't as sharp at 70 as they were at 30. The lesser-known fact is that sugar dramatically accelerates this decline by injuring the very nerves that direct your muscles. It's like cutting the wires between a light switch and the lamp. The lamp itself may still work, but without a signal, it stays dark. With Mrs. Rivera, we focused on stabilizing her blood sugar. She swapped her pastries for high-protein breakfasts, cut out processed snacks, and began eating nuts and vegetables instead. Over time, her nerve function improved enough that she regained steadiness and felt more confident walking alone. Her experience is a powerful reminder that the nervous system and muscles are inseparable, and sugar attacks both. So let me ask you, how strong can your muscles really be if the signals that control them are frayed? And if sugar can harm both circulation and nerves, What happens when it also begins to weaken the very bones your muscles attach to? That's the next danger we must confront. Muscles don't exist alone. They are anchored to your bones, and together they form the frame that holds you upright. But what happens when sugar doesn't just weaken your muscles but also erodes the bones they rely on? The connection between muscle and bone health is often overlooked, yet it's critical for seniors. If the bones lose density and the muscles lose power, the entire structure collapses like a house with both its walls and roof crumbling at the same time. Excess sugar accelerates bone loss in two dangerous ways. First, it increases calcium excretion, meaning your body literally flushes away one of the key minerals needed for strong bones. Second, sugar promotes inflammation that weakens the bone-building process, tipping the balance toward bone breakdown. For seniors, this is especially devastating. It means weaker bones to support weaker muscles, a combination that raises the risk of fractures after even minor falls. I recall Mr. Hanley, a 70-year-old retired librarian who suffered a hip fracture after simply tripping on the edge of his carpet. When I reviewed his diet, the picture became clear. He drank 2 to 3 cans of soda daily for decades, often believing diet versions were safe. But the high sugar and acidity had drained his bones of strength. His muscles, already weakened by years of sugar-driven protein blockage, couldn't support him when he stumbled. The fracture left him bedridden for weeks, and he admitted to me later, "I never thought something as small as soda could bring me down like this." The mainstream fact is this: bone density naturally decreases with age, especially after 60, leaving seniors more vulnerable to fractures. The lesser-known fact is how sugar directly accelerates this decline, not just through bone loss, but also by undermining the very muscles that should protect the bones. Strong muscles act like shock absorbers during a fall. But if sugar weakens both muscle and bone, you face a double jeopardy. Mr. Hanley eventually recovered, but only after making major dietary changes. He replaced soda with water, added calcium and magnesium-rich foods, and began gentle resistance training. His story illustrates the truth that muscles and bones cannot be separated. When sugar harms one, it inevitably harms the other. So here's the question. If your bones are crumbling and your muscles are fading, how safe do you really feel climbing stairs or stepping into the bathtub? And if sugar has this much power over muscle and bone, is there any way to enjoy sweetness safely? The answer is yes, and that's where we'll finish, with safe alternatives that let you protect your strength while still satisfying your taste buds. We've taken a long journey together through the hidden ways sugar silently erodes your muscle health. From blocking protein absorption to weakening circulation, from damaging nerves to thinning bones, the evidence is clear. Sugar is not just a sweet indulgence, it is a steady, silent threat to your independence after 60. And yet I want you to leave this video not with fear but with hope. Because the truth is, you are not powerless. The very moment you begin to reduce sugar and choose safer alternatives, your body starts to heal. Let's pause and reflect. We've seen how sugar accelerates sarcopenia, how it fuels inflammation that gnaws at muscle fibers, how it traps your body in the insulin-resistance cycle, and how it sneaks into foods you once thought were harmless. We've walked through patient stories: Mrs. Ellis with her hidden sugars, George with his sweet tea, Margaret with her granola bars, Daniel with his fruit juice, Mrs. Rivera with her pastries, and Mr. Hanley with his sodas. Each one is a reminder that sugar does not discriminate. It quietly undermines strength in anyone who lets it linger in their diet. But here's the good news. Every small step you take toward cutting sugar gives your body a chance to rebuild. Muscles begin to absorb protein more efficiently. Circulation improves, delivering oxygen and nutrients where they're needed. Nerves function more clearly, bones regain density, and energy returns to your daily life. It's never too late to reclaim your strength. Now let's talk about safe alternatives. Because enjoying a little sweetness doesn't have to mean sacrificing your health. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries are naturally sweet, high in fiber, and loaded with antioxidants that fight inflammation. They deliver flavor without spiking blood sugar dramatically. Avocados. While not sweet, their creamy texture and healthy fats help stabilize blood sugar. They make a great addition to meals that would otherwise trigger spikes. Cinnamon. This warming spice not only adds natural sweetness to oatmeal or yogurt, but also helps regulate blood sugar levels. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, and pumpkin seeds pair well with fruit to slow sugar absorption and protect muscles. Dark chocolate 70% or higher. A small piece can satisfy a sweet craving while offering flavonoids that benefit circulation. Stevia or monk fruit. Natural non-caloric sweeteners that don't spike blood sugar, making them safer options for seniors who still want a touch of sweetness in tea or coffee. Beyond what you eat, timing matters too. Here are 3 rules to protect your muscles. Eat sweets earlier in the day. This gives your body more time to process sugar before rest. Always pair sweets with protein or fat. This slows the absorption of sugar and reduces spikes. Never eat sweets right before bed. Overnight sugar wreaks havoc on circulation and muscle repair. Think of these rules as your shield. By following them, you can still enjoy flavor while protecting your strength. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought: aging is not the enemy. Ignorance is. Once you understand how your body changes after 60, you gain the power to make choices that protect your independence. Your muscles, your bones, your energy. They are all waiting for you to nurture them with knowledge and care. If you've stayed with me until now, thank you. I hope this message empowers you to take action. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means so much, it helps us create better content just for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another health tip designed to keep you strong, independent, and full of life. Take care, and remember, every step you take away from sugar is a step toward freedom, strength, and vitality.